Welcome to the Religiously Offensive Podcast.
Welcome back to the pod.
Welcome.
We weren't talking. We hate each other. in real
Squad
life.
pod.
Okay.
Squad pod.
Thank you for liking, viewing, listening, subscribing.
That's right. We need all of that. And we need to start doing more social media stuff. Christina's really getting on me about it.
What do you mean?
I'm going to record.
It's like our brand. We're just like,
I'm going to record
it's not
one of our
thing.
games of Catan, GoPro.
well, yeah, that's the thing.
Just some stuff. We just need to be better at documenting all the stuff that we do.
Yeah.
Like this morning, we just didn't.
You mean like bring the GoPro? Because it's hard to do it on your phone, and still be in the moment, and everybody else be in the moment.
Yeah, but if Kyle was there, he could have just held the phone one of the times he was sitting
but
out.
Kyle's good for nothing.
Well,
I know he listens.
He listens to this. So
I love that. Is this spilling over from the pickleball court?
Kyle
Is that
gives
what's
me
happening?
so much shit.
Yeah. Gabby and Kyle have a rivalry.
We
for
really
sure.
do. Like, we were on the
really
same
did.
team,
They
and we were almost
intense.
I feel like we may
setting
have.
ourselves up for failure.
I feel like we may have. Well, I don't want to give us credit or the lack thereof, but I remember that first time a bunch of those kids came playing Halo, and Corey was here that day, and then Kyle, boy chirps.
He does chirp.
He
But
does.
Corey deserves it.
He's
No, but that
competitive.
was the best part because it started with Corey.
Corey was saying something,
chirping.
talking shit, and
And
then
so
he was just like,
pedal the metal, we're going.
"Take that, Corey." He said something and it was just like he didn't even know him. And he
I
just,
love you, Kyle.
That's
That was
fantastic.
hilarious.
It pumps me up though.
Yeah. So,
Have that competitive rivalry.
I saw
you know?
this
Yeah.
like random questions thing, and
Brings the killer
You
out
know
of
how
me.
I love questions. I love asking you guys questions.
Yeah, we love answering them.
I know.
Top 5 of favorite things I've ever done.
So, how would you change your life today if the average life expectancy was 400 years?
Wow.
I thought you were going like 4 days.
Deep, huh?
I thought we were about to get
No,
real.
but everyone does that. Everyone's like,
No,
if you
for
had 24
sure.
hours, what would you do? But now it's like, if you had more time, what would you do?
Oh man.
I wouldn't change anything I'm doing.
Yeah, that's true.
First off, I'm just taking a year to chill.
I don't know. Well, you still
Reset.
need
Still
money.
got to pay your bills.
It's not like it's not like you can go like a month
I
without
sell
eating.
the house.
You can't just go on a
and
cruise all
I
year.
go off to some island to chill for a year.
Okay, let's see how that. Yeah, hopefully it works
Find
out
my
for you.
path.
Now you have 399 more years.
Yeah.
So still,
What do you
yeah.
do the other 399?
I think I'm just going indigenous.
Start a tiki bar.
living off the land.
I feel like you would have if you lived on an island, you would build a tiki bar just for yourself, and you would just serve yourself drinks at the tiki bar.
Yeah.
See you doing
What are you
that.
I would
drinking
make
tonight,
like
guy?
a little.
Yeah, what are you drinking tonight?
I would
Then you go to
make
the
a
other
little like bartender
Great
out
choice.
of like I would fashion a bartender out of sticks and twigs and such. What's that movie
Oh,
with
like
Chris
straight up
Pratt?
Castaway? Oh.
Chris Pratt when he gets stuck on the ship
I'm
with Jennifer
thinking-
Lawrence.
Yeah, great movie.
And there's like the random
Passengers.
bartender. Yeah, the passengers.
Uh-huh.
And then he has that one like
robot guy.
the robot bartender.
What's the name of the volleyball with the bloody hands?
Wilson.
and castaways? Wilson.
Yeah.
There's a few. Yeah,
You
it's
gotta
a
get
common
fun
thing.
with it.
Yeah.
But where are you gonna? I'm gonna have to learn how to like procure my own alcohol or
You could
ferment.
probably do
That's
it. And
true.
you could
Just use
probably
the ocean water.
experiment. I mean, before you go, you should probably at least print out a sheet on how to make alcohol,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Well,
Put it in a Ziploc
all I know
bag
is
so
some
it stays
people,
dry.
someone else have already figured it out. So I just need to.
People don't really
do a
grow
research.
corn in tropical climates, so you got to find another way.
No, we're
to
going
distill
avocados, citrus.
rum.
What is that made from?
I have no idea.
I definitely need an
But they
agave
make it in the islands,
plant
so agave you can't
because that's where you get tequila, right?
Yeah, tequila.
I think there's a lot of other applications for it as well.
Tequila
Sorry, this
and
wasn't
rum.
supposed to be about alcohol.
No, it's not. I'm just. This is part of the question. We're hashing
This
it
isn't
out.
part of the
Well,
question. at all.
I would drink less. That's for sure. Because does my kidney need to go 400 years or liver?
I guess not. I mean, no, because your whole body would be more robust.
Yeah.
So no matter what, you're going to 400.
Well, I mean, you
No,
probably
somebody could still
everything's still more
kill you
robust.
off
You
at
could
any
still, by ratio, abuse more one part of your body more than others. Like you only get 100 years out of your kidney and it's done. I mean, granted, I mean,
How far is technology advanced? Do we have like synthetic
yeah,
organs?
maybe they could 3D print you a
we
new
always
kidney.
get way too deep. into these
Liver, I meant.
questions.
3D print a new liver.
These things matter.
Gabby's like,
You were
I'm
saying
out.
kidneys.
This
It's not
is
about
like
the
a
kidneys.
simple-
It's about the liver. Sorry.
Did you even answer, Doyle?
No. What would I do different?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
What time would you guys time travel to? Another question.
I like that one better.
And it can't be forward since it doesn't exist, or you can go forward.
Yeah, and you go anywhere.
There's no
But what if
rules.
you go forward and the Earth like it was like cataclysm destroyed again?
Yeah,
Then you-
then you're
Are you stuck
destroyed
there?
in the vacuum of space.
You're destroyed. Yeah.
Are we stuck after we go there? Can we come back? We have like a ship.
If the time machine can exist in a vacuum, yes. So you just got to make sure the time machine kind of doubles as a spaceship,
You guys,
which has been done
Make this
before.
too realistic.
I know.
Which has been done before in movies. You could probably go for that kind of time machine.
just pick a time.
But if it's the time machine, like
You
in the movie
psychos.
Time Machine, you remember that one with Guy Pearce, the movie Time Machine? That one would not work in space. So you could pick
Oh,
your
you
own
remember
time
that
machine.
movie Jumper?
Yep.
Oh,
That was
I used to
dope.
love that
Good
movie.
movie.
So cool.
You know what is crazy though? You bring that up. No one ever talks about this. But if you did do a time machine, like in the movie Time Machine, it was like everything around him just kind of like just kept going, right? And like at one point the thing was buried and was back up and like all this, like, because it showed a time lapse of the Earth around him. But the problem is the Earth. How do you, like, if you're existing in a certain point in time and your time machine stays in that bubble, the Earth still rotates around the sun, it still orbits. So would you go with the Earth, or would the Earth orbit and you end up in space, like Justin said? Crazy. Right?
That's not a question for me.
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
That went in a
I am-
that
Time
went,
machine
way above my
travels
pay
with
grade.
you.
went in a weird direction. I'm sorry.
Example. You have the power to jump from time to time.
I would go to like
Where
the
are you going?
60s probably.
Showtime.
What's the craziest?
Psychedelic.
I'm going.
Yeah.
I
Is
don't
that the right?
know.
Is
Can
that
you
the-
only go to one place?
Woodstock, brother.
Is this like where's the first place you go, or is it like you can only go one place?
You only go one place.
Because if I had to
Here they go.
experience something over,
pretend it's a dead end. You got to live the rest of your life there.
okay, so you can't
that's
get back.
different. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. See, my brain wants to be like 2040 because I'm pretty sure we're still going to be here and we're probably going to have like way cooler stuff. 2045.
I feel like if you had enough money,
I
you
feel like
could
that's
find ways
lame.
to live longer.
Or maybe 2060, 2070. I just get nervous because I'm just like, if we wait till like, 1,000 years in the future,
Year 3000.
how do we know?
I go back to 2009, buy a
Bop.
shit ton of Bitcoin.
Thank you, Gabby.
Dude.
Yeah, that's better.
Well,
at least
no,
that's
I got my answer. I've done this. I've said this many times. I would go to like
Dinosaurs.
1980, 85, and I would invent the internet. And somehow also
do you know
invent
how
social
to do
Do you
media
even know how to
platforms.
explain it?
yeah, or
Yeah,
do
better figure
it.
that out.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to 1970, and I'm going to devote 15 years of my life to understanding this
There you
stuff.
go. There you go.
Bro just walks in
And
this room with a
then-
bunch of nerds. Hey guys, I have this idea.
And then
How did you
'cause
just
think about
connect
it,
these computers somehow? And
Not okay. So
Yeah,
I need
you would
to
have
study
nothing.
now.
Yeah, there
and
you
then
go.
jump
There you
with
go.
with all the information.
I'll allow it.
Because not only do you get to invent the internet, but you can also simultaneously invent like Facebook, Instagram, like TikTok. You can invent everything. Just you don't have to wait
know
for
it
like
wasn't
20
just-
years of evolution.
You know, it wasn't just
Or you could
ideas.
already
It was a
have-
lot of hard work and all that stuff that made those companies.
Well, yeah, but
huge.
my company would have every idea. We would have like the first
mean,
like Craigslist. We would have
sure,
the first
okay.
like every single
I see
viral
that.
thing. We just have a list and we're just gonna roll it out.
Your time
seems
travel
like-
seems like a lot of work.
And
that seems
then-
like a ton of work.
Yeah.
But because
out.
I'd
after
rather
I
just
do
buy
that,
the Bitcoin.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but now Bitcoin's trash.
No.
Yeah, but he'd be a
You know when it's going to be at
bajillionaire.
60.
That's a
You
good point.
sell it at 60. It's like you buy it at less than $1. You sell it at 60 grand.
But can you really cash out? Like, are people really cashing out like billions of
For
dollars
sure.
from somewhere?
No, you can. There was a lot of volume. You could absolutely do that.
Have you ever seen Back to the Future?
But how do you even
Dude,
you
what
just do
kind
it
of
with your
question
crypto
is
wallet?
That's twice we've referenced that.
Yeah, it was. You
What's
had
his name?
you had to
The
use
bad
cold
guy?
storage.
Bick?
Biff, dude.
Biff.
Come
He
on,
goes
like
back in
Jeff.
time with just a sports almanac
I know.
and makes
That's it.
bets on all of the games and is a bajillionaire.
You could
Yeah.
do that.
It's that simple.
It is that simple. You
Talk
couldn't-
about time.
Wouldn't
Dude,
want to
Learn
imagine
how to
learn
make the internet.
Imagine the parlays you could pull off.
Yeah, yeah.
You could even bet $20 and
For
then have
sure.
like 20 games all go your way, and you would make
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands.
So
Yeah.
I mean, the thing you're thinking small.
Yeah.
First of all,
You are.
Well, I'd go harder. Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though.
Put $10 down in 1906.
'Cause, okay.
for the 2020 NBA Finals.
What
No,
happens,
invest in
though-
Microsoft.
I guess maybe not
But that's
NBA.
sketchy.
Before that
You
happened.
get it.
But what happens if you go back? But you have to be strategic, because if you make so much money and you get everything right, you'd have to like get some wrong every now and then on purpose.
Or have planners.
because
People aren't
people are just
sus.
going to be like, "What's good?" Like they're. It's almost like, you know, casinos. If you literally, like Dana White, I just saw this. I saw a clip about this. Like Dana White's not allowed in most, which is the president of the UFC. He's not allowed in most Vegas casinos, or at least he's not
'Cause he
allowed to
goes-
play
'cause he
blackjack.
goes hard.
because he just
bet a lot.
robs them.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, maybe he's just lucky or he's really good. But like most big time Vegas casinos don't let him play blackjack there, because it's like they'll do that. Like if you're just making too much money, they don't have to catch you for like cheating or anything.
They
I
can
mean,
just
it's literally
refuse to do business.
Like you don't get to work, you don't get to play here. So I feel like with gambling, you'd have to be careful.
Well, they have high limits on most things too, so you can't just go and roulette and put down $1 million. Like they won't let you do that. I mean,
you
because
could, yeah.
there's
I mean,
the
there's
risk
ways
of
around
loss
it.
is too much to them on that one bet.
You just
that
need
they
like
won't.
20 different bookies.
They need
some
the like
aliases.
so the house wins based on numbers. So
Volume, right.
after so many, like they can be guaranteed. It's just like the probability works out to where it's like at least 51 whatever 50% in their favor.
Just space it out 3 days. Go, hit it 3 times, leave. Do that every day.
No, you know, you could.
Wow. There we went again.
And
But also, I
still
would
no
want to go.
answers.
I would also still though want to go to like the Colosseum days. Just some like, no, we're going to Egypt. I want to see those pyramids when they were built.
You've had
Okay.
3 different. You cannot return.
more
So
than
you're
3.
stuck in Egypt.
So just so you can answer that question, and then once you have that knowledge, you can't tell anyone from our time. So it almost doesn't matter. Just for
I
your
just wanna
own personal
know.
satisfaction.
you.
I don't know if they're really resurrecting souls in that thing.
Yeah, but at the same
That's
time,
the legends. The
so what
legends
would
say.
happen is that they see you appear in this time machine. You see how the pyramids are made. That's great.
And
They either make you a king because you have this like crazy piece of tech, or they say we need to get rid of this guy and they kill you, or they make you a slave.
Fair,
A lot of negatives on that one.
fair.
Wish this
What's
was
your
alcohol.
answer, JJ?
My answer? I told you, Bitcoin, 2009.
I can't hear shit with this.
But
We got secrets over
all right,
there.
guys, this is not fun when you guys start talking secrets to each other.
Sweet nothings.
How long would you last in a zombie apocalypse?
Who would last the longest
The
in the
longest.
office?
I would.
I would last the shortest amount of time.
You think so?
I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm pretty confident in saying myself, but that's just me.
I feel like we have to do it now.
I'm
'Cause I feel
boofing.
challenged.
Okay, well, that's
Well,
one way to do it.
My body's quite literally falling apart. So, based on just a physical perspective, I don't think I would really get that far.
Let's
I think
set the
between-
scene,
I'm gonna go
though.
Luke.
Does it
I'm gonna go
start
Luke.
Hunger Games style where everyone gets nothing? Or
No.
you already
No.
have what you have?
Well, you have what you have.
Okay,
yeah,
well then
I'm
at a
done. Yeah.
disadvantage.
I don't have
Yeah.
anything.
No, I have enough guns,
Oh.
ammo, freeze dried food, strategy.
Well, yeah, but
I've
you
already
just gotta
thought about
get-
all this.
You just yeah, and then anytime you go to try to get guns or ammo,
What's your strategy?
it's going to be real contentious.
Oh, I'm setting up base camp at my house.
Now that I
for
think
sure.
about it, I have
Or
a
I'd
machete.
or I drain the pool,
I like that.
We got
set
guns.
something up in there.
Why drain the
I'm
pool?
going samurai
I don't
sword
know.
first thing though.
Like no one suspect there's like a whole like hideout
Sharpening
in the
that
pool.
thing every day.
Who knows? Maybe dig a tunnel from the pool to the house.
Yeah,
and
you
that
need a
way have
bunker.
like a fallback position.
Bunker would be
So
sick.
in this
have to have
zombie
a bunker.
apocalypse, is it just you're the only human alive? Or what's the
Or
situation?
are we like Walking Dead? Like,
Yeah,
that's
do
true.
We find
50-50.
people along
If I had
the
to
way?
try to protect my family, I would probably go
Dude,
pretty
this
quick.
is a great spot. I'd come to the office.
This
It
is a
is.
great spot. There's a lot of windows though.
That's true.
They're pretty strong windows.
They are pretty strong.
Strong
windows.
zombies.
Are we dealing with like
And-
World War Z zombies?
Yeah, what kind? That's the
Yeah.
other wrinkle.
Yeah, World War Z zombies.
Let's
were
talk.
Insane.
Let's do Walking Dead zombies.
Yeah, I'm
Oh, I
in
think
agreement
the
with
office
that.
would be fine. I don't think they get through these windows.
Wouldn't it be perfect, but
I mean, we would probably still board them up.
I'd just
Right?
use
Oh
my
yeah,
pickleball
for
paddle.
sure.
That's the
Just-
first thing you do. You
just
find some board and nails.
Yeah.
Stock up on generators.
Bro,
just
we're
play
right by-
Halo.
And then we'll have stuff ready to like put
Wait for 'em to
behind the
come.
doors, so they all also have to get through the doors of the office.
Well, yeah. So the Ace Hardware's right there. Those employees are going to be the first idiots to go. So that'll be open for us to go get all the lumber
Oh,
and
yeah.
nails and all. Well, they don't have lumber there, but
Let's do it like this.
We'll figure it out.
The whole
That is a convenient
rest
thing
to
of
be
the
located next door.
population, the whole population, other than the 4 of us and Nate, turn into zombies right now.
Dang, we need some time to go get some rice
That's
from the
like
Walmart.
the Will Smith. What was that one?
Yeah, I am
I Am
legend.
Legend.
I Am Legend.
It's great.
Get
yeah,
the
Can we
rice
get
cooker?
dogs?
Just need to go get all the rice.
we got knives and
So you're
stuff.
saying
Beans.
we're immune to whatever happens,
Yeah.
and we're just like-
unless we get bit.
We need some serious hydroponic systems going. We can grow plants
Everyone
inside.
grab a
you-
knife.
Yeah.
Veggies.
you
Go to
plan
Ace
that out.
Hardware.
You
We
do
could
that
do that
research.
upstairs.
Oh yeah, we would have the whole
We would
building.
have the whole
No, we
That
wouldn't
would be
because the
gangster.
building is populated with other people who are now zombies.
We
Well,
killed
we'd
them
have,
already.
We'd have to
Oh,
clear
yeah.
them out.
We
We'd
murdered
have to
them.
clear them out.
I could
What a
help with
risk.
that.
with one single katana.
Cortana. Cortana.
We got
I don't know.
Should I
Michonne over
store
here.
Why
my
does not-
machete in my office or take it from home?
Just in
to be
case.
prepared.
There's no more like valuable weapon in a zombie apocalypse if they're Walking Dead zombies than like a sharp samurai sword.
I agree.
You just slicing heads
Oh,
off.
who was that
and
girl
you're not
on,
like wasting
Walking
What if
Dead?
bullets.
one of us
Michonne?
gets in the way?
Michonne?
And then,
Yeah,
Right.
that's exactly.
You
what
remember
she
when
had.
she like got the two like on each side of her, like they were just like her pets?
Yeah.
protecting her.
Yeah.
She's a beast.
Or how they'll like just spread all the blood on them so they can't and just walk
Smell
through the
it.
crowd.
It's genius.
I don't love that idea.
Give me a lightsaber. GG's.
At some point, we're not going to be able to
Yeah.
shower. We have this pond in the back
GG's.
That's true.
that we could jump in if we need a shower.
I mean, how long
Oh.
That's true.
is that? Like years?
Got an alligator in it though.
Don't do that to me. I don't think I've ever felt that dumb. Like in my life.
It's like Luke, that head's.
That was so funny. Did you come back and tell us there was an alligator or did you realize
he
it?
did.
That's great.
It wasn't until you
That's
said
awesome.
someone was like,
don't know.
"That's fake." Like the idea of it being fake was not a thing to me. I was
Well,
just
it's,
like,
it kind of makes it's like who would put a fake head in there?
yeah, yeah.
then
What's
I'm
the
like-
what's the point of that?
It doesn't seem like it swims like that. I don't know. And
You're
that's like
its eyes are literally red. I was like, oh my gosh, they go crawl in a
that's funny.
hole. That was terrible.
phew, what's the craziest fashion trend you ever did? Rocked?
Oh, actually did or have seen?
War.
Oh.
I
I
had
mean-
a bowl cut haircut for
Wow.
Really?
when I was a kid, and then I grew up and had a buzz cut for about a decade straight, nothing else.
Nice. Justin.
I had a gnarly mullet when I was little.
I gotta see
I mean,
that.
just like and like mom was just dedicated. Like it was like it's just funny. I'll see if I can hunt down some pictures.
a gnarly mullet.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Gabby.
I guess that was
I don't
strictly
think I-
within.
I don't think I did
Hair
have
trends.
anything.
Didn't do anything. Huh?
I've pretty much have looked the same my entire life.
You didn't have a middle school phase?
I had a big fro when I was younger.
Well, if I'm just
Right.
talking about what I think looks ridiculous, like the '90s baggy jean.
Oh, baggy
Thing.
jeans with
Oh
the
yeah, baggy suits.
with the they call them fag tags. You remember that? You don't remember that?
That's
The
quite
car-
a name
the
to not remember.
The carpenter jeans. Like you know how carpenter jeans have the little loop for the hammer?
Yeah.
They called those fag tags, and people would yank on them.
But why?
Dude, I don't know. Must have been
I was
a,
Tell
waiting
me
for
why.
the explanation behind it.
oh, it was just one of those stupid things. Like just people would make fun of you and just have any excuse to make fun of each other. So anyway, that's what we called them. And then like the choker necklaces, like that was
Yeah, never,
Seashell
never
one?
did that.
those look. I mean, you see someone now with a choker, you're like that looks silly.
No,
It
it's
just
in
looks
again.
ugh.
I kind
Good.
of, bro, I like
Oh.
it. Like,
Yeah.
I got something about
You like being
on
choked?
women.
Oh.
Oh yeah,
don't
men
need to go
didn't
there.
wear chokers, did they?
They did.
Oh wow.
Absolutely, they did.
Oh yeah, because it was like those like the same like shell like those white ones.
Oh,
yeah,
and then you
yeah,
could have some that were more pattern. Like,
Some guys wore 20 of them.
oh yeah,
On-
but the choker's like kind of it's not a choker, but now it's like the chain is back in, and it's even popular to do like a short one with a longer one.
I like that.
What about the silly bands?
Oh, I had the silly bands.
Oh yeah, there you are.
My
There we
sister
go.
was into like toe rings and stuff. I was just like, what? I never understood that. First of all, my toe's so crooked. If I put a ring on, it would never come off.
Crooked Toe. I feel like that's been said before, and I thought that it would be a cool band name, and you just said it again, and I thought it again. So I think it's fate.
I love how Gabby
Crooked Toe?
immediately goes to band names.
Well,
Crooked Toe.
that's like a Parks and Rec band name.
I
That's
bet you
like
there's already
Andy,
a band name called Crooked
Andy
Toe.
band name.
I would bet that.
Crooked Toe.
for sure.
Oh man, that's fun. So what'd be fun, I thought, to do today. Gabby didn't think so, but trust me, I think it'd be fun. Just talking about different things that you could do that are bad. But if we just like come up with a huge list.
Like what you said is, let's come up with a list of sins, and I'm like, that sounds horrible.
Well, no, but it's just like
Sounds like we're going to confession
James,
with
let's
some
have a
creepy
good time
priest.
today.
anything.
Sins that's a boy.
This sounds like it'll be really fun.
Not that we do all these all the time, but I mean, like all of us have lied. All of us have done. I mean, we've all done some of these things, right? So it's like whatever, we all still do these.
You
things.
made a list.
I didn't make a list.
You just looked up a list?
We need one. We're gonna make
That
one.
sounds like something we should have done before we did that.
No, this is part of it.
This thing. Oh,
This is part of the fun.
The whole
Gabby.
hour, Gabby.
making the list.
You figure out. But yeah, so I figure we'll stay away from stuff like sexuality. We haven't talked about this in a podcast yet, so we'll stay away from like sexuality and stuff because I know there's like differing opinions there. But as far as like lying, I'll put that on here. Lying's a good one. And that's like lying, like big lying, as well as like, hey babe, does dress make me look fat? No, you look beautiful. Am I the most beautiful person in the
Did
world?
you just set yourself
Yeah,
up there?
you are. No, Christina never asked me that. Fortunately, she's very like, I don't know. It's not,
Not
she
insecure.
pretty much can eat whatever she's very fortunate in that regard.
If I asked Rachel that, she'd be like, "No, you look fine." I'd be like, "You're lying because you love me." You wouldn't tell me the truth.
But that's the other thing. When you say to someone, "No, you look fine,"
Setting them up for
it's
failure.
like fine, or like fine.
Yeah,
is like-
like fine, like
Damn.
boing, or fine, like you're disappointed.
You look adequate.
Slightly above average.
Fine. You got to throw some O's in there. Earl, you look
I don't know.
fine.
You're about a 7 out of 7.
Not
That's
your
what
best
you
work.
just-
Not your best
You gotta
work.
just have a bunch
Not
of
your best
audio, like you gotta have a bunch of audio things queued up, and you could just respond with, and they can, use all the emotion of the clip. Just like, if you ask me a question, if it's about tone,
Just don't answer.
just know the
Yeah,
intention is this tone.
It's just like it's just like how
That way,
How do I look
can't
today?
be misconstrued.
Yeah, it's just like how people say unbelievable because that could be good or bad. It's just like, how do you look unbelievable?
We like to do that with words, though. I mean,
Unbelievable that you're
the
asking
same
me
word.
again.
People
Or
are real good at it. Some
unbelievable.
people are like do that vague thing where they like try to explain something or they get you to they say something extremely vague, knowing how you're going to read into it, right? So that they have deniability later.
Well, we
It's
just
a form of manipulation.
Yeah, it could also be that. It could also be, to me, it's just funny that like human nature with language. It's like we'll go golfing. Someone hits just a nasty shot, and I'm just innately I'm just like ew, like just ew. That was so nice.
But I
like,
also say
ew
the
is
same
like-
thing.
Ew is like disgusting.
It's
Yeah.
gross.
Well, it's all about context
was
and tone of your voice,
I was
right?
Or
like,
like
that
we
was
killed that
disgusting.
workout.
Yeah.
Murder. You don't want to murder anything.
Even
but
if
we
you
killed
say
the workout.
even if it's like
killed
That'll be
Let's
number.
go.
That'll be number 2.
Means it's
Murder.
where are we
good.
going?
All right, guys. So we have 2 of them: lying and
We ain't-
murder.
We ain't going nowhere.
Yeah,
Just like
murder's
the same words
definitely
we
on
like to-
there, I would
Murder's
say.
murder's rough.
Murder's got to be.
What
up
else?
there.
What else is bad? Cheating.
Cheating,
That is
yeah.
bad.
And we could just like
Like,
knock through the 10 Commandments.
Cheating, like test cheating, right? Cheating.
Plagiarizing,
And
yeah.
then there's like cheating, like relationship cheating, right?
Yeah.
It could all be boiled down to this. It's probably a similar concept, but yeah.
Well, you know what's crazy is like you ever look at the Catholic sins, the 7 deadly sins.
Oh, great movie
Oh, like-
though with Brad Pitt. If you guys haven't seen it,
Sure is.
Greed and-
highly recommend.
So
Morgan Freeman.
first of all, yeah. So
Morgan
this
Freeman.
is a big one. Pride is a big one. Pride is a
of a guy.
sin.
Pride cometh before
Pride is the devil.
Why is pride a sin?
That's J. Cole.
Well, we could talk about that. It's really just kind of. I mean, it's
You gotta hold on.
There she
prideful
is,
heart
there
is
she
like a
is.
sin. So I think the idea is not that you don't lack pride at all.
Like the
It's-
opposite of humility in a sense.
Yeah. It's really anything that brings you further from God. Like I have pride and like it's just all about me and myself and therefore have nothing else to
I'm
give.
more important than other people.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
So which goes
But
against
that leans towards just like cockiness, right?
Right.
well, yeah, but like so
Same-
if
same
you take
umbrella.
if you, in the Bible, like when Jesus says, love the Lord your God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself, those are the 2 biggest things. Loving your neighbor as yourself. If you have too much pride, that's not possible. you love yourself more than everyone else.
Got it.
Right. So that's kind of where that comes from. But the 7 deadly sins I think is interesting because half of them I never understood. You know what I mean?
Because there's like gluttony and like
Like, what's sloth? What is that?
Just
I don't even know. I
laziness.
still don't even know.
Laziness,
Is it?
I guess.
That's what I would assume.
Man, I feel
Does it
bad for all those
explain?
sloths because this is like how we view them. They're
Sloths
just
are
lazy.
so cute, though.
They're
Dude,
adorable.
there's this
Well,
guy
aren't
that
they
used to bring a
lazy? Is that
sloth
fair to
out
say?
downtown every weekend
What?
in Orlando.
What'd you say?
His name was Neil. Actually, rest in peace. Really sad story. He's no longer with us, and the sloth isn't either. But
Justin,
when I
Neil
was,
and the sloth?
yeah, it's
what a
really sad.
heartbreaking curve that's.
I know. I just felt like because if there are people who may, if they do listen,
What's
they're gonna know
crazy?
what I'm
Didn't
talking
he
about.
kill himself because his sloth died or something?
Oh,
Or
I
was
don't
that what
know.
you were
Guys,
telling
this
me?
is getting darker and darker.
I'm
out.
I don't.
Are you
I don't know that I
serious?
ever looked into
Yeah.
cause.
Sloth into
I think.
this.
I think as far as I remember, they just found him in his car one morning.
All right. What's the next one?
But
Suicide? Are we adding that?
yeah, it was all to say
Next.
like every now and then you go out and you see a sloth
That's pretty
the bar.
dark. It's pretty dark. Thanks, Justin. Thanks for
Sorry.
bringing it down.
Well, I feel bad.
Gluttony. Okay. Gluttony. Lust. Of avarice. What the frick is that? All right, hold on. Hold on. All right,
Lust of
today.
what?
Sorry, that was
Gluttony is the funnest one though, because it's like one that just like the church is it's just funny.
no. That I want to talk about that too because it's definitely like the church sees sins differently, and that's funny, right? So we'll
No one's
see.
calling you out for eating too many cheeseburgers.
That's right.
Got to hold each other
Like
accountable.
they're gonna call you out for
Right. Okay. So wrath. Wrath is one. Is that just anger? Envy, pride, sloth. Let's just say laziness because I like sloths. Lust. What is avarice? I don't even know what that means.
What's sinful about lust?
It's basically just like lust. It's basically lusting after other people.
it's like objectifying
Yeah,
like,
objectifying.
a person or a woman or something like that where it's like
Well, it's
I
'cause-
want you for like what I want, not
Right.
like I don't
We
want to
talk
actually
about-
have a friendship where it's like give and take. I want to take from you.
Yeah, using people essentially. I mean, in the most tangible example of that is like basically like if I'm lusting after another woman and I'm married, that's not good. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's a different thing, though.
Well, that's
the context.
I'm just giving you an example that's easy to.
But if you're not married and you're just lusting after a woman, it's bad because
because the whole idea is like you wanna pursue someone based on like valuing them as a person, and you're not valuing them if you're just.
Well, and it's
lusting
usually
after them.
purely sexual, right? Lust.
Usually,
it's
and
usually
the- yeah,
talking
it's
purely
usually-
like sexual, like.
Yeah.
that's. I
Like,
guess
'cause-
that's what I was trying to get
Because
to.
there's nothing wrong with looking at someone and being like that person is beautiful. Like there's
Well,
nothing
yeah,
wrong with
because-
that. But when it's just like I want to like fulfill my sexual desires on your body,
Yeah. Okay.
kind of a thing. That might be a little cringe, but
It's words.
Straight up horniness.
no, I just
Like
think
to
that's just.
fulfill.
Justin's like I think a lot about
What
this.
I don't.
No, that was well done.
I just think that's what in my mind. That's
the
what
way
I think
you
of.
said it was funny.
So blunt, but-
greed is one of them as well. All right.
Well, it was important to do the body thing because it was like it makes it very like
So funny.
brutal.
So what
and
other
like
things
what
can
really
you do?
is happening?
Killing, murder. We did murder. You wonder if is killing different?
There's a righteous kill for sure.
Yeah. So murder is like, cold blooded kind of thing. Like you kill someone who didn't deserve it.
Vigilantism,
Yeah.
is that a sin?
I don't know, man, but I always cheer for the vigilante in every movie that there's a vigilante. I'm just like, yeah,
Got
dude.
to.
It's like
too.
my favorite. Who's your favorite vigilante? Just real quick.
Does Batman count? Or are we talking more low key?
I guarantee this won't be quick.
A non. Okay, not like I don't. Yeah, one that you don't hear of as often is Batman. Yeah, so just take him off the list.
I really like the Daredevil
Yeah,
kind of idea.
yeah, he's good.
JJ definitely has one in mind. That's why he
I've got
asked the
two. I've got
question.
two. It's tough for me. Well, there's like so two of them are like part of the same. Boondock Saints. Love that movie. Those two vigilantes. They're like so awesome.
Yeah.
The original Boondock Saints.
Yeah, those guys are dope.
And then Deadpool. Just like my guy.
Yeah, Deadpool is great.
I love that movie. We need to watch that here together.
Also
That's a
love
good
Ryan
movie.
Reynolds.
Dude,
he was the perfect.
Dude,
fit for
he's
that.
top 5.
They had to
actors
have
for me.
made Deadpool
Ryan Gosling. A lot of
specifically
good Ryans
for
out there.
him to do it.
What do you like vigilante wise?
I'm not well versed in this category. I'd probably say the main ones, Batman or Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's
Spider-Man's not a vigilante.
he
Batman
not?
is.
What's the definition?
Vigilante's basically killing outside of the law. So you're killing someone
it doesn't have to be killing, does it?
without
Like a vigilante is just someone who's kind of like circumnavigating the law, the law or government to try to fight crime on his own.
Okay.
without due process. But Batman would kill people. for
Yeah, but
sure.
the goal is not to kill people. But sometimes
No,
there's
but I'm
collateral
saying like
damage.
Spider-Man never accidentally kills someone.
Yes, he does.
Batman
I
does.
bet he does.
What did he do?
First of all, Batman doesn't kill people.
Yeah,
Who does he kill?
Yeah, that's a good point. I
he
can't
doesn't
really
try
name
to,
anyone.
but he has. I swear he
He
has.
just seems.
in like
I don't
Dark
think he
Knight series.
does.
I swear
We got to
he
do
had
our
to.
research.
He just
But also, if they're in the middle of an epic brawl and like city blocks are crumbling, is that technically killing people?
I guess all the
You can't
Avengers have
consider
killed
that?
people. Then
right.
Iron Man's killed people.
So technically,
Those may all
Spider-Man.
be
Well, Spider-Man didn't kill Green Goblin, but in the
Vigilantes.
first
That's
one,
what I was gonna say.
by jumping out of the way, he killed the Green Goblin.
Spider-Man killed the. Well,
Like
I
Green
guess
Goblin. OG Tobey Maguire
Green
one.
Goblin killed himself.
Tobey Maguire one, the one that killed his Uncle Ben.
Yeah. Well,
That
I'm
guy
just.
died because of Spider-Man. He fell out of the building.
Yeah, so I'll go with
Right off
Justin's.
the rip.
I'll go with Justin's definition. So anyone who tries fighting the law outside of
Okay.
typical government enforcement,
There's like Arrow.
without due
Arrow,
process,
what a show.
without due process.
Not bad.
That's a good vigilante.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can make that Luke's. Gabby, do you have one?
Dexter. Just kidding.
Let's
I
go.
love that.
Let's go.
What an answer!
That is an answer.
Because I knew she would have that, so I saved it for last.
Was that a serious one?
I don't know. It's just like,
No,
is
he's-
it okay? I mean,
He is a vigilante, though.
See,
He's murdering
that's a
lots of
straight
people,
killer.
though.
That's
He
the
does
killer
do
one.
that.
Yeah.
do that.
I just don't think I
but
could.
I love it.
Even if someone, I think I'd still have to. I'd still want. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I'd want to give them a peaceful death. Like if I'm ending their existence, at least like they probably battled some demons. Ended up, being such a sick person. It's
So-
like, do you want them to? Yeah.
I'm gonna add selfishness to this. Do you think that works on there? This list?
I'm sure that list will be impossible to fill out completely. But yes,
I know.
do
But I'm
think-
just saying we can just where's okay.
Answers that rice.
All right.
Gotta
a
have
chef.
that rice.
Gotta have that rice.
He's
so
a chef.
yeah. So what else is considered a sin? Think about it. Think about it.
I'm not thinking about it. I'm Googling it.
Oh wow.
On the googs.
On the
On the
Googs.
Googs machine.
What do you think, Luke?
We've hit the big hitters.
You think disobeying your wife?
Disobeying your parents. Oh, that's probably not the right wording. Dishonoring your parents.
Man, that's so vague though.
I know.
Like what's considered dishonoring?
That's the trick.
Because it's like one of those things, you're an adult, you're able to make your own decisions now. You should be making your own decisions. But does that mean you have to listen to every single thing your parents say?
Well,
At that point?
what honoring someone means? I don't think so.
You think honoring just means like, I'll take it under advisement and then
Right.
and then making your own decision?
I think that would, yeah.
Okay. So respecting, honoring, yeah.
Yeah, respecting your
There are almost 125 sins listed in the Bible.
showtime.
It's a lot. We don't have to do all that.
No, yeah, absolutely.
I like
not.
just I like brainstorming about these because it's fun. So Sydney says, "Hey Luke, I need you to get me some ice cream on the way home." Luke, I don't feel like doing that. I'm not going to do that. Did you just sin?
I don't know.
You didn't do something to your wife just because you didn't feel like it. Is it
Well-
laziness? Is that dishonoring your wife?
I guess it could be.
Or if you said, "I don't believe that's the healthiest choice," then you'd be honoring her, and you still got out of doing it.
It's a lot to think about.
Crazy. You can think about every little decision in your life this way. Right?
100%.
Run it through like
drive yourself crazy.
yeah, I know.
Dang, bro, I'd be sinning.
I'll be sinning. I'll be sinning.
Join the crew.
No, we're all. The whole point is to.
The whole point is for this to
And I-
show you how
I've
much
said-
we're all screwed.
Well, yeah, and the whole thing is to. I know Gabby.
But
Haven't
we're
spent
such a great time. He wants to hang out with us.
We are a great time.
No, but I'm just saying
that's why he
it's
died
well
for
because you
us.
don't. Yeah, so you don't hang out a lot in church. There's a lot of there's a lot of perceived judgment in church, but I don't think it gets said enough that we all like sin all the time. Like so, all this stuff is like you could argue based on your interpretation of the text, different things that like you would say please God or don't please God. It doesn't make you less a Christian, right? You just do your best based on your conscience and all that stuff, like Justin was talking about. So it's just like. That's kind of where all this is stemming from. But it is. I love that shirt, by the way. I love it so much.
The thing that
you.
the thing that
Dunder
is,
Mifflin. You guys came to play, and
Yeah.
I'm wearing this.
wait,
Vintage tea game, bro.
They match the kicks
it's
perfectly, bro.
it's the butt.
Butt's back.
The butt's back.
Let's go.
They do. They
So
do.
would you rather?
Wow.
That's fantastic.
We going back to that?
That'd be hilarious.
Oh boy.
That led us into the sculpture of David conversation that we aren't going to have again, but just had a little memory.
Would you rather have a chiseled bottom end or?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Failing to take care of aged parents.
What is
Failing to
that?
take care of sick parents. Fighting with and or speaking evil about siblings.
You know the Bible says.
Oh, gossip.
If you know what is right and you don't do it, that is sin.
Sins of omission. Yeah, correct.
Mission. So that is a lot.
So cursing other people is definitely one. So gossip kind of falls in those
Gossip.
categories.
You wrote adultery.
Cheating.
Cheating, yeah, I guess there. Yeah, I said cheating relationship, but adultery was a much simpler word.
You
for that.
adulterer.
Yeah, no one says that. That's why.
Cheetah. Yeah,
Have you heard of the adulteress over there? Did you hear what she did?
that wench.
That wench.
Porn.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's
That would
lust.
be lust,
That's
yeah.
lust. It's all the same. But yeah, porn makes it
How
easy.
we immediately were just like lust. It's just like that one they
that's
bang
real.
into you.
That's
Yeah.
real.
That they know they can always get you with that one because
Yeah.
it's just like into the service. And they're like
Gambling?
You want to get
Is that
free
a
from
sin?
your pornography.
I love how you said bang into you.
Can be.
What was that? Gambling?
carries a lot of shit.
Yeah, that's greed though. Right.
But
Like,
I
greed
think it's-
leads to gambling addiction.
I think it's possible to. I don't think gambling just is a sin just straight up.
Moderation.
Like if it's ruining your life, I think it's probably not good.
so okay.
It's
so
addiction.
So when the guy gets to a position,
you're-
so
But then I would
So what,
say any
what
other
sin would you?
addiction.
What
Yeah.
sin would you say you're committing when, like you're going and you spend all your money and you're like, oh my gosh. At that point, you're just trying to make your money back. You're not trying to make a bunch of money.
well, right. That's
But
what I
like,
would say. Like
so you just
discretionary income, and it's
so
not
what is
anything
that
that's
though?
going
'Cause
to
at that
negatively
point,
affect.
it's not. You're not being greedy.
Your whole life is based around
You're just
making money.
You're just scared of like the going home with like a lot less money, right? Like or like you lost your savings or something like that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. If
I guess greed.
if
maybe
it
led to that.
compromises like the safety or health of you and your family and your future, like obviously that would be negative. I would guess I was just saying. It's
Yeah,
just
I was
like,
just trying to categorize it.
for sure. Well, that's I think like all of these things. It's like maybe it's not a spectrum, but it's like with the gluttony thing. It's like okay, well, we're still eating. A lot of us still eat unhealthy meals every now and then, but we have commitment to exercise or staying healthy or whatever. But it's like with gambling, it's just like I think there are healthy ways to do it, and obviously unhealthy ways to do it. But
Yeah.
I think you can make that argument for a lot of things.
I agree. Yeah.
A quick would you rather though, because I've been holding it in, and I was listening to you. Just so we talked
Active
about
listening.
like waiting,
He was waiting to
to
talk.
say
Thank you for
something.
saying that. That means a
I was
lot.
listening. Healthy gambling. So would you rather? This I don't know. This is like maybe you can really. I guess you're probably not going to lose your hair like we are. But what I'm saying
I
is
could.
you could.
Yeah,
So
Don't
it
you
still
manifest
applies.
cancer on me.
Well,
rebuke that.
you just took that in a more severe direction. I did not say that.
general baldness.
Yeah.
not
So
necessarily a
would you
terminal
rather?
illness.
Would you rather have a beautiful head of hair until the day you die, or be missing a foot? Like, so do you mean like so?
I'm keeping my feet.
So
I feel like
sorry,
it's not even close.
I said that
keeping
wrong.
my feet.
I said that wrong. Would you rather have one foot and a beautiful head of hair till you die?
Okay.
You could have prosthetic,
Okay.
Thank you for saying that.
or be bald.
Yeah,
Be
just
bald when you turn
go
30.
bald.
No, yeah, I would
I
take.
go bald.
I would take the hair.
Baldy.
I think I would take the hair too. They had done a lot with prosthetics.
Yeah, yeah.
Y'all let me know how
Especially
that
after
goes.
a certain age.
can I, like, play
I mean,
golf
is
with
it
a
at
fake
this
foot?
age right now?
Absolutely.
I'm young.
But not like I can play with a real foot.
I'm out with the fake foot.
At
I gotta
30.
be honest.
I would
and they
say
got
30,
good
bald at
wigs,
30.
you know? They got good wigs
For
out
you,
there
it's
for
a
the
lot-
ladies.
Guys can get away with it more than girls can. For
Yeah,
sure.
never mind. I would.
Bald head.
They do a lot.
that
A
what
lot
you're
of.
saying?
They make some good wigs.
Do you get to
though.
keep your eyebrows?
Yeah,
Some
they do
girls
make
can rock a
really good
bald head.
wigs. And honestly, I'd love a bald head.
Think about how much low maintenance that is.
Yeah.
And
But you'd
and
always
if
have
you're
to wear
gen-
hats because your head would get fried when you're like
Or
playing
just
disc
some
golf and
sunscreen.
stuff.
Just throw some
Yeah.
lather up, baby.
Yeah.
Lather it up.
We all right.
Well, and if it genuinely balds, you don't even have to shave it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that would be sick.
That is sick.
Oh yeah.
Zero-
If it's like baby's butt bald.
Zero like
Haircut
commitment or
bills.
work whatsoever ever.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Still get a beard?
I get a haircut like every 4 months. So
I guess yeah. That's fair.
It's funny.
no haircut bills.
Can you imagine if you're like that? If you're like have those clients and you're like a person that cuts hair and this guy comes in like with just a tiny bit of hair, but just likes going in and getting his hair cut, and you're just like snip snip. All right, you're done.
Hey, have you ever seen the tattooers that'll like just do like really small dots, like really close together, and it
Yeah.
makes someone look like they have a like a fade
like stuff like this
if they're bald or balding.
Oh,
It's really cool
forehair.
actually.
because they call
yeah.
this pointillism, the shading with the dots. I have a lot of that.
It's actually really cool.
That is dope.
I like it. Oh yeah, with the hair stuff, that is pretty neat.
Sorry, that didn't mean
Today,
to-
Junior.
Oh, there's also tattoo artists that will tattoo nipples back onto breast cancer.
Right. I guess I was thinking like
Dang.
if you get the fade up the side with the tattoo, do you just do the whole top and make it like black, or
The
do you
ones
have
that
like
I've seen
the
are
horseshoe?
the whole. I mean, it looks like they have like a clean like fade, but they're really
And it
just
does
bald.
Yeah,
top
you
and
definitely have to
everything?
make it look like.
Yeah, but what happens when you start going that
Get a nice
direction?
horseshoe, bro.
You got to keep going with it until it's just your head's just tattooed.
First of
because,
all, ow.
Yeah.
yeah. But
I'm out.
But the thing is though,
gotta do the
actually,
whole
I can
thing.
deal with pain on my head more than
What?
Some-
I feel like
tattoo
it's
to
just
your
the dot.
skull?
It's not like those like long lines. That's when it like really
no, but
hurts
the thing is,
when they're
it's like,
shading in the
it's
same
like
spot.
People have said that
Just a
before,
dot.
to where it's like the sensation of pain is less like on your head because there's not a lot of skin there,
Like nerves.
not a lot of nerves there.
What?
Nerves are in the
Yeah.
spine
Your
and brain.
is there.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'd rather get a head
probably
tattoo
feels weird.
than like a tattoo on my elbow. Okay,
Not me.
or here.
Head pain
This
is real,
sucks.
though.
I hate
I'd much rather
this.
that.
Like you remember how
is
Kyle
awful.
was saying he doesn't like crunchy things because of like the sound that it's making? That would probably bother me. Like just the sound
Of it on
like
your
the
head?
vibration, like on your head. Yeah.
I'm out. That sounds awful.
Well, I'm saying what I was
I'm
saying
going
is
bald.
once you
I'm fine
start
with that.
going that way, you start losing hair in other places. You have to do it there, and then you lose all your hair. You just have patches
you
of
just-
tattoo, so you would need to
You
like
just
keep
have
it
to-
going.
Yeah.
right.
I feel like that's one because I thought about the hair transplants now. They can do single follicles, so I thought about doing that. But then it's like, well, what about when I start losing the rest of it? Is like I got to keep doing that.
Mm-hmm.
If I lose my hair, I lose my hair.
Okay, that's where I'm at. But
think
I'm
that's where
actually
I'm at.
starting to lose my hair.
Really?
And the
you're
thing is,
You're
like,
not even gray.
Am I so nonchalant?
there's legit. Well, I think I talked about this before, but it was when I buzzed my head like a year ago, and then like I just saw this ring of like really light, and I was like,
Horse
oh
track.
dang, like it's coming. So I just had no idea. Like I was just completely unaware, and so now I'm just like, dude. Like
You don't wanna shave
A,
it
it's just
ever
it's
again?
insecurity and it's stupid. I mean, that's why we buzz it to begin with. But then also I have all these thoughts of like, dude, almost every dude attempts it. Not every, but most. And like they have these like keeps, like they have all these companies that literally make it super simple
Right.
at an affordable cost to like give it a shot. Cause it's like their stats are like 50+% of men experience hair regrowth. I'm just like, dude, does it stay? Do you have to stay on this stuff forever? But it feels
You
like,
do.
Right.
Yeah.
really?
I don't
You
know.
never get to stop taking it?
No.
Like, what if you get
Keeps
really
and
good
stuff?
results? Like with the
Lifetime
finasteride and
subscription.
stuff.
Oh
Well, then
no,
it would
you
lead-
gotta stay on it because
Yeah, 'cause then it would lead-
because as
Really?
you get older, yeah, you get more testosterone gets converted to DHT. So right now, I stopped taking finasteride because it gave me rage, but I started taking
Rage in your heart.
I got DHT blocker. I take so it
human
blocks
anger.
that, and then I take I do minoxidil on the top. I mean, it's slowing it down. It's not
Interesting.
stopping it.
Yeah, I guess I was hoping it would just be like a quick fix and then just roll the dice, and if it worked,
Yeah, it's just like
Huh.
I mean, I may
That changes things.
I may go the low key
surgery?
transplant route. I mean, just
It's very it's
because it
becoming
looks
very common.
very natural now. So I don't know.
And they even have a couple different kinds now. I think.
Yeah.
I saw
because it is
random
easy
dude
to
on a
say like,
podcast
oh, I
talking
don't
about it.
care, but most guys who say that really do low key. They just want you to think they don't care.
Well, they're spending thousands of dollars to get the surgery. They clearly care.
Yeah.
They care the most.
Yeah, what I'm saying is most guys who are losing their hair, like a lot of them. It's
I
like you
see.
can tell if there's a type of guy that cares about that or no. And I'm just like, yeah. I mean, I could say that I don't care. I kind of do though. I mean,
I prefer not to lose
yeah.
it.
So I mean, dude, though, I would more than anything, if I could be like Jason Statham, yeah, no problem. I'll just shave it
So you
off.
get Rose Whittington Huntley or whatever.
Friggin'
Do you
Bruce
get his
Willis.
wife also?
Yeah, I just like, yeah.
I think we can make that trade.
Vin Diesel,
Two of my favorite
The
men.
Rock. Those are some pretty stud bald people right
Oh,
there.
The Rock. What a guy. But he also has that like skin type that's just
That
like
Kevin dude from
yeah,
Shameless.
he's like ageless.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Somehow we got on baldness.
Yeah.
It was a would you rather.
So is baldness a sin?
Okay, there you go.
It's all
We're
it
all
takes.
screwed.
Could be.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Is insecurity a sin?
Oi. That's
the
a
Bible
pride
say about
thing.
It could
that?
probably lead
Because
to
you're
a
carrying
sin.
you're just carrying
Isn't
a
that
lot about
pride?
other people's
Jealousy?
opinions, right?
We didn't do jealousy.
Envy. Well, it's part of the seven
Oh, did you
deadly
write
I
that
wrote
down?
down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So okay. Insecurity.
Comparison?
So would that is envy, isn't it?
I guess it could
That'd be. Why are you talking about insecurity? Like
Could go up or
comparison
down.
or just
When you
really
compare
you're-
yourself to someone you want to be like, or
That's envy, and then
someone you're
compare
better than.
yourself to you're better than that's pride.
pride. Sure. Okay, we got the.
I've also
umbrellas.
heard it said insecurity is just not having the confidence in yourself, not having confidence in yourself, which then leads to, I think it was Ed Milet, love that dude, and he was talking about, it's like, we don't think about this, but most of us, if you're insecure, like we have a bad relationship with ourselves, because it's like we look at something and it's like things that we wouldn't even care about in our friends, right? But we look at it in us, and it's just like we just beat up ourselves over it, or we like worry about it.
It's a real. That's
And
a
so it's
heavy
like a
one.
lack of lack of confidence is just like you got a bad reputation with you. And part of that is like whether it's like for me, I
be
guess
a
this is
lot of
going pretty
reasons.
deep right off the rip, but mine was like because I was doing so much hiding in my life. I had a really bad reputation with myself because I was like, bro, you're such a hypocrite. Like you're so fake.
Constant
And it wasn't like I was
condemnation.
trying to like, gain the system and like play both sides. It was like you feel trapped and you're just, you know, whatever. But
So many.
But
things
so is
probably
insecurity
play into that.
itself a sin, or does it just lead to sin? It can lead to sin. So is it itself?
because it's almost like that.
wonder.
I don't know. It's also part of that
an
like
interesting
identity
question.
crisis. Like the Bible would say, like,
Because it's not.
as a
Isn't,
child of God, you shouldn't you shouldn't worry or even care about the opinion of man.
but but that isn't like when it was my turn. Luke, you're next.
Yeah.
So it's moving around the table.
It's contagious.
So does that make it? So does that so it's not like the Bible says that everything that that makes you not a perfect person is a sin. That's not, you know what I mean? So like you can feel a certain way. Like I could be depressed and it's not necessarily a sin. It's just that
Sure.
I just, you go through ebbs and flows and whatever. So yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily.
I
one.
think what you just said was like, what were we talking about? Insecurity might not be a sin, but it leads to sin. That idea is something people should think about a lot. Not necessarily sin itself. Think about it. Temptation isn't a sin,
Right.
but it leads you to sin.
So
So that section of the whole process should be.
there's a bunch of those
Focus.
that can fall into that category. Here's an interesting thought. I did a quick Google on it, and this is a really interesting perspective. It says our dissatisfaction with self is often nothing more than our dissatisfaction with God. Insecurity is not a sin primarily. Oh, and it goes on, but it's almost like when we don't like ourselves, it's like also believing that we were created by God on purpose. That it's
Oh,
like
just blame
we're
him.
almost like unsatisfied with God for the way He made us. Probably because you compare yourself and we're like, I wish
Yeah.
I was made like this, or I wish I came out like that.
Right.
And so it's like,
That's deep
yeah,
Well, it's hard to.
and real. People, that's a real.
but you don't even think you're doing it. Like you're not trying to trash on God. But
Well,
it's
yeah,
like
but
what
if,
you're,
like,
what
I
you're
could-
saying
I-
is
you
I
know-
don't like how I was made.
Well, there's times I'm like, oh, why couldn't I just look like Brad Pitt or
Sure.
something like that?
Everybody has to.
But
think that at
you
some
know,
point.
at the same time,
Specifically about Brad Pitt.
yeah, specifically, yeah, because he's a beautiful man. But I mean, when you're talking about that, I mean, I try to just like, it's just like you just remind yourself. It's like, even if I did look like that, if I'm already thinking that way, I would have issues also.
Yeah,
I
for
compare
sure.
myself to the next thing.
Well, and
the next
social media has
person who compares
exacerbated
himself.
that. I mean,
Yeah.
we're on our phones looking at the most attractive of,
Yeah.
our race, just constantly thrown in your face.
Who are also struggling.
And it's
And-
crazy.
Well, that's crazy. Is
Such a
once you
problem
get
with
into
social
that,
media.
like once you get into like either wealthy or that level of like influencer is not the right word, but like it's interesting because then you see like depression rates are higher, like suicide rates are higher. It's like when we feed into those kind of like the more negative of our emotions and that comparison, and that becomes your world. It's like that also comes with like a higher percentage and like likelihood of like mental illness and
Right.
all that kind of stuff.
That's crazy. In so many categories too. So like you could talk about success, you could talk about just people in leadership in a church.
Yeah.
People could just see themselves as the lowest, like on the spiritual totem pole.
Right.
And
And that's
other people
jacked.
are so high and that just puts them into depression. It's almost like, it's almost best for the mental health of any community to where everyone just sees themselves as the same.
And individual.
Sure. But it's like,
There's no other I've heard it put this way, and it's helped me with stuff like this. Like there was if you think about it biblically, God made a void in the world and then made you to fill it. Isn't that nuts? Like literally no one else could do what JJ was made to do. And it's kind of like, I feel like life is just the journey of like realizing that and then finding that and then doing that. And then that's where fulfillment is met. But it's like, if I wanted to be like Brad Pitt and live my whole life like Brad Pitt, one, there would not be two Brad Pitts. There would just be a missing void that I was made to fill that I didn't because I wanted to be Brad Pitt. And that's where I think comparison and all that stuff at the top level of it is so sad, because it's like, no, Gabby's supposed to be Gabby and Justin's supposed to be Justin. And if we try and we miss the fulfillment for all of us, right?
you're right. It's the disease. Like there are some people that take it to the extreme where they get like plastic surgery.
Yeah,
So they can
sure.
look like people. They try to talk or act like people.
Right.
It's nuts how far people go. There's extremes with everything, but yeah, it's crazy too, because you see like a lot of people playing into it on social media, even like Christian people who have to understand the undertone of social media is just unhealthy. But they still like kind of play the game. They still like, I mean, granted, some of them are just trying to positively influence people, fine. But there's a lot of like, very like prideful personalities on there where you're just like, all right, you're obviously in it for you, and you know how this makes people feel when you're like, basically comparing your great life to like other people's not so great lives, or that they look at this.
The highlight
like,
reel, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like what you're doing, and it's almost like you're enabling people. Like, granted,
So tough.
people have to take responsibility for their own, and that's tough, because I feel like a lot of people just don't have that mental coach or that a way to kick them out of that like comparison. It's easy to go on social media and get depressed, but then we reach
yeah.
for it like the first thing
That's
every
why,
time.
I mean, that's why I think
That's why we gotta
quiet
go to work.
time. Yeah, I think the quiet time and the meditation is so valuable, because like I've recently been trying to be really intentional about like putting things or at least being aware of like, because I think about social media, I think about a lot of things, and like the phrase that always comes to my mind is like social media can be an incredible servant but a terrible master. It's like things that like I remember
That
I would,
sums it up for me, I think.
yeah, I mean, I would hear Andy Stanley talk about it, and like with materialism, he's like, it's not bad to have nice things, but it is bad when those things have you. Like one of his rules is, I will never own anything that I wouldn't be willing to give away if I felt like God was telling me to give away.
I love
So
that.
whether that's a car, a house, like no matter how big it is, it's like, if I felt like he was telling me to give it away, would I be able to do it? Or is this thing like, is it, because that's why we see all these verses, where your treasure is there, your heart also is.
I think
like,
the
it's
bigger
so
it is,
more
hard.
spiritual than
The bigger it
you
is, the
think.
more confirmations we would need. It's like,
You sure?
yeah, my house. So
But what's crazy
let's
is,
go through this
I mean,
process. Can I get some two-factor authentication on this one?
I think of like Robert Morris out of like Gateway. Like I remember like his stories are just like, or like Rick Warren. Like it's just like, it's crazy because it's like the people that are willing to like actually do it in like a way that is like, dude, that's most people just be like, that is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not God. Like they always end up with the most incredible stories.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of that, the way it worked out, then it's like, it's the snowball effect there. You're just like, you already experienced what happened in the past. And you're like, yeah, like now when I feel like I'm supposed to give away something massive, like I don't even think twice. Because I'm already attached to like, it's going to come back even better somehow.
Here's a personal story that kind of fits in that. When Sydney and I got married, we were supposed to go to Australia like a month after I signed a contract to go, and it was going to be like our lives. It was going to be sick. COVID ruined it 2 days before the flight, and we had no jobs and no home, so we lived with my mom as newlyweds. Trash. Do not recommend. Love my mom. Love my wife. Don't love living with both of them.
Wait, your biological mom?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so hard.
Yeah.
So is it weird for you to walk around naked?
If it was like mother-in-law, I feel like it'd be easier mother-in-law.
That was my mom. Yeah. So,
So funny because I've like sometimes I'll be like walking around my boxers or something and I forget like we'll have family in
right.
and I'll be like,
This is my house.
is this weird?
Yeah.
Like, or like my brother when he lived with us, I'd like walk around my boxers and Christina would just be weirded out and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Just like it's like I'm in a locker room.
True.
But then my wife's there, so it's like she feels weird that my brother's there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot of that
Yeah.
nonstop. But anyways, like in the same breath as when you experience something, your reflex to do it comes quicker. Like we didn't have money, we didn't have jobs. We were like, and then all of a sudden stuff would like start happening. Like one day the doorbell rang and I opened the doorbell and there was just an envelope with like $200. Just like random things, anonymous, like no.
Kind of life you live in, brother.
I'd like that.
One time, I mean, I have stories. I literally probably have 5 to 10 stories
Where's your neighborhood at?
in that stretch of my life
Give them
where
free
like
money.
that stuff happened, and I was like,
Wow.
so. Anyways, that's just kind of
That's
a fun.
great.
Yeah, that's dope.
You're one of the chosen ones.
Some of these
We all
are interesting. So like
Never gotten $200.
bitterness. Bitterness is interesting, right? Basically holding grudges.
Yeah,
or
that's a good one.
bitterness. Yeah.
That's like,
That's a heavy
that's
one.
deep because it's like, you're not even,
That's forgiveness.
yeah, that unforgiveness, that whole drinking poison, and expecting the other person to die.
Yeah.
That's another one that falls into that awareness of like, you got to deal with that because
Well,
that's
see-
only hurting you.
Yeah. I mean it. So some of these like complaining,
That's a huge one.
everyone
Forgiveness
does that.
or unforgiveness.
Unforgiveness, yeah, for sure.
Complaining. How do you feel about that? I don't know. But I guess Bible tells us not to do it. But does that make it a sin if we start complaining? I guess every time.
See, where I always go back to,
I'll
is
tell you
like,
what. I could like at a restaurant. I can't handle it when I'm with someone. I complain about a lot of stuff. Okay, I'm just saying.
Disclaimer.
I'll admit I'm the most guilty at this.
level 10,000.
But I will say, I do not complain at restaurants ever.
Yeah.
Ever. And when I'm with like family or friends or something, and there was just people just start talking about like, you know, where's the food? Oh, service here is horrible. Oh, my drink's still not refilled. I'm like, I get mad because I'm just like, it's not like it goes past I used to get embarrassed, but now I just get mad. I'm just like,
Yeah, just the
are you so
pretentious
discontent
kinda-
in your life that like you need to just like this needs to be the
Served.
biggest deal to you right now?
Right.
You know, and it's just like I know being in that industry before, it's just like there's a lot of factors. Like you don't know what
Those
kind
are not the happiest
you don't,
people.
well, you don't know what kind of day they're having. Like
Yeah.
this server maybe overworked
Exactly.
because they didn't staff enough people.
They may be in the weeds.
Yeah,
Well,
like
they're usually going through some
Server term.
stuff.
yeah. So it's
A lot
like
of times.
or they're new, right? And you're just like, I have people, dude. I have people in my life that just complain, and I'm just as soon as that, I just get like, you know, I get so annoyed with people like that. I mean, granted, it just a lot of people do it. A lot of people do it. They'll just like be the first, just start complaining about service.
Like Ricky
especially.
Bobby's dad in the Applebee's.
I said
Yeah.
no onions.
Oh yeah.
What was he saying? Like, I think in the, he said did it on purpose, right?
Yeah.
I think you did mean to.
And the
Reese, oh,
mom's
come on,
like,
Reese.
oh, here he goes.
Dude,
We can't have one nice night at an Applebee's.
still need to eat that movie. We still need to watch that movie. I don't know why I said that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So one of these things, cowardice, which is interesting.
I like that.
Drinking parties. Oh, okay, that's reaching.
Bummer.
I think that's wrong.
Move right along. We don't need to talk about that. That's
defending it.
I just had a for the huge 4th of July party.
That can't be right.
Evil thoughts. Oh, come on. Like, see, it's one of these things where, like, if you dwell on a thought, it can be bad, but, like, everyone has intrusive thoughts, right? That's a thing.
For
like,
sure.
I think we all kind of understand that. Eating the bread or drinking the cup unworthily. Okay.
Is this still the Catholic
Okay.
website?
No, this is some other websites. It's like
That's also some interesting stuff that people do
updated
think
list
that.
of sins from the New Testament.
It's like Jesus is loving. I don't think he's trying to murder people because they were just like, "What are we doing?" Okay,
Well,
More so when you're.
here's the deal.
It's like mocking, I think, is the verses that represents.
I don't think anyone sits in church and does that in a mocking way.
Right,
And I don't
right.
know why even the church makes a big deal about,
Yeah, that one's
oh,
tough
this
for
is
me.
only for the people who have accepted. I mean, it's just like, just let them do it. I mean, because it's not going to mean, if they don't know Christ, it just doesn't mean anything. It's whatever. It's not a big deal. Like, right? So if you know Christ and you're just like, you just have a bad attitude about it, that could be seen as bad. But like unworthy to drink the cup and like, that's just,
It's poor wording.
well,
Okay.
no, but like there are
probably
people
should.
that think this way. So it's just like it's important to address because, like, why? I mean, so you're unworthy. Like as soon as you do that, you're like putting these materials more important than God and His grace and like how He really thinks. You know, that's not the heart of God. So it's like people talk. Because I've heard that before. It's like unworthy to take communion or not ready to take, or you can't. You're not eligible.
Well, I understand. I get that part, I guess, because like if I'm taking it and if I'm like 6, because I used to when I was a kid, I just didn't know what it was. I don't think. I guess I'm just saying like you just don't understand what you're doing, and there's no harm in that. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah,
there is
people
no harm
freak
in it.
out.
Yeah, people would just be like, "Oh, he shouldn't be taking that if he's not," you know. And it's just like,
But
well,
I don't think it's a bad thing to say, "Here, let's describe what this is before you do it."
absolutely,
Right.
that's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, even if it's a kid that you
ever
they're
think-
incapable of receiving the description, if they want to take, if you want to, like, you know, say like, oh, if we were a kid to experience it, even though they don't know what it is, it's not a big deal. Like, you have them sit through worship, they don't know what that is. Like, are we saying that's bad too? You know, I mean,
here's just a thought. Not saying that I believe this, but you ever think that maybe they put that in the scriptures, like saying basically like this is just for like the family kind of a thing, because they knew that like people are gonna come and see this and just being like you're eating his body and drinking his blood, but like not actual body and blood, but it's like, you know, it's pretty synonymous with a lot of like culty things, right?
oh, so you're
Like
saying
ceremonies?
yeah, you just want
It's like this is like a family thing because it's like might weird out like other people or just like without context is gonna be kind of a
But to tell
Deterrent.
people they're unworthy, that even takes it a step further into the crazy, though. To me,
yeah, I think it's
Certainly don't
always
think
just
that's the
explain it, and it's like if someone wants to be a part of it, I don't know.
Right.
anyway,
Just a random thought
this
my
is
brain
just
had.
interesting to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, I need to watch more South Park. There's not enough time in this life
Well, it could be if you live to 400. Badooch.
with technology. Maybe we could get back
With
up
modern
there.
JJ would
advances in
have like
science.
a 5-year schedule for the different like
Am I a high level
series
of
he was gonna
income?
re-binge.
It's not
Oh,
crazy
for
to think
sure.
I can't live to 2.
I would
maybe
watch.
300.
I would rewatch so much TV. It'd be so good.
I could go the whole movie, I think, if you need me to.
We don't.
Foolishness, foolish talking. Well, we're screwed.
We are.
This is what this podcast is all about.
We are all screwed. Yes.
Hatred, hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is a big. Yeah, we're all guilty.
JJ's going to write that one in all caps.
Hypocrisy. Hippopotamus.
Hippie.
Quarrels. One of these things was interesting. It's like bringing law against a brother or whatever. It's basically suing someone else, like in the church. I think is what, because I've heard that before too, right?
Like it,
Where it talks
bringing
about
a case
legal
to, like, the
legal battle,
worldly- Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That can't be resolved. Which is interesting.
Well, yeah. Yeah,
get-
I know
yeah.
what you're talking about. I was just in that the other day. I think it's like if you and your brother in Christ have a quarrel, why would you bring it to someone who's not a
Sure.
believer? But I think that's referencing. I could be wrong. I don't know. But I think it's
But
referencing a spiritual quarrel.
I think it's just a deeper thing. It's like, it's deeper, and at the same time, it's more simple. It's like, when Jesus says, "Turn the other cheek." I think
Deep and
so many
simple.
people So many people are guilty. Like I'm guilty. Like I want to get back,
Straight up.
but I also know people who are worse than me. That's my pride talking, clearly.
Right.
So, but it's just,
Yeah, but I,
see
I would
that.
say this to that: just you being aware of it puts you ahead of.
Sure.
Not that the game is to get ahead of people, but like
No,
it's
but
the people that don't think,
yeah.
like don't understand. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? They think they're better than they are.
Well, yeah. I mean, one person could listen to this one day and be like, "Oh man, I just never thought about that." I mean, so it's cool
Right.
that we're talking about it.
Right. Right.
But we can stop at that list. But okay, so some of these murder, like adultery, like wrath. I'm trying to think of like real bad ones. I mean, bitterness is like self-hurt, hypocrisy is awful. And then you look at stuff
I think
like
gossip is like maybe the most destructive. 'Cause
gossip
there's
is
a
the most
different kind
destructive.
of
Yeah, I agree.
because there's this weird reality where it's like the Bible says like all sin is sin, but it's like we also know that it's like they don't carry the same consequence. Like there are levels to this thing. That's why we literally lock certain people up forever,
Yeah, right.
if they commit something that's a sin. So it's like it's this weird reality where it's like
When
I
they
guess
say
in the context of church.
Well,
but
there's
also,
human levels to it.
Well, then
when they
for
say
sure.
when they say all sin's a sin, I mean how I interpret that is like, hey, all these are bad. Just try not to do as many of these as you can.
Well, the challenge,
Sure.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean-
I'm with you. It's like my beef, more or less, is, and not even beef, but I guess my perspective.
Oh, I have a beef.
Is that it's like it's more or less. It's almost like what we're seeing in America. It's like, look, we have rules or laws or whatever, right? And it's like it's only annoying when there's not equal application of like the law, right? Where it's like the gluttony example is just way too easy to pick on, but it's like it's just one big one where it's like, yeah, no one's talking about this, no one's calling anyone out, but it's like on this list, if you do any of these things, like you got to have meetings with the pastor, you got to get on like a restoration program.
Well, here's the deal. So I can go through each one of these and tell you largely from my experience.
Like big deal or not a big deal?
Yeah. Based on like how most people in church
We should have made a
church
game.
would
We could have had like
interpret
little
it.
signs. You could have read something.
Big deal, no
big
deal. Not a big deal. Yeah, we should have done that. I mean, hey, this podcast will only get better. Lying, big deal. Murder, big deal. Cheating on a test, middle. Cheating in a relationship, big deal. Pride, not a big deal.
But would cheating on a test and getting used to that get you used to
See, this is where
going
it goes.
around?
And pride might not be a big deal until it is a big deal. What if you're prideful about a
Yeah,
certain
no,
area?
I agree with both of you. What
You're
I'm
just saying
what I'm saying is how it's going to hit the typical church
backlash.
person. You know what I mean? Like when you
okay.
say adultery, they're like,
Right.
you know what I mean? When you say like cheated on a test,
Most people are just like,
probably shouldn't do that, but whatever, you know?
You know what? Here's a thought.
Yeah.
Stuff like adultery and murder, like the common person, well, at least murder, like you might not experience that. And so like things like lying or cheating on a test, everybody does.
Do you think it's because it's a common experience that it's dismissed more?
Right. That it's desensitized.
well, it's probably common because they've probably also done that at one point in their life.
So what if
So
you,
it's
so they
like-
feel some type of way.
so what if
Yeah.
you lived back in the day where people were getting murdered all the time?
I wonder.
Was it kind of one of those things that just happened and the church was more like or anyone was just more nonchalant about it? Like
I would say so.
that's insane to think about.
Yeah.
Game
People-
of Thrones style.
Right. People die. They're like, all right.
Wow. So, okay. So I'll just finish the list here. Pride, not a big deal. Gluttony, not a big deal. Often encouraged. Lust, big deal. Envy, it's in the middle. Wrath, I would say anger. That can be a big deal. Laziness is whatever. Some people overlook it. Some people get on people about it. Greed, not a big deal, which is amazing. Like, I feel like greed is like one of the biggest. Low key, the church is okay with it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, have you experienced that? It's as in like that is like one of the last things to ever get. If
Yeah,
someone's
no
like,
one's going to tell you have
No
too many
one's-
nice things.
yeah, no one ever does. No one ever like questions anyone's like because it's but people are happy to just be like, okay,
Well, we
you know,
almost look at it, not that all wealthy people or people with nice things are greedy, but there's probably correlations a lot of times that could be drawn or at least perceived. But it's like, I mean, most church leadership, like they like when it looks like wealthy people are
What do
here.
you think? Okay.
That's dicey though, because
I
we just
try-
don't know.
I try to
It's true.
like see the best in everyone, right? But when you think that, because I'm not going to say greed's not a part of my life, right?
It's everyone, yeah.
It's part of everyone's life.
Well, it's so
How do you? What I'm
accepted
saying is,
culturally,
how
it's
do
like
you
we
get
don't
to,
even
like,
realize.
How do you
it.
get to like a company that's like massive and like all that, like, and have this massive house, all these crazy nice things, and you clearly could have done other stuff with that money, and at one point you can't say that greed contributed to that.
I think if you having nice things isn't a problem. I think it's the things that you have. Like if I have a super nice house and I use it as leverage to like reach people,
Sure.
it's just like I think it's a heart thing.
It's a
like,
selfish
if
or
it's for
selfless
me and I'm
motive,
like,
yeah.
no one allowed. I did this. This is mine forever. Prop my feet up. My work's done. It's like, well, if it got taken away from you, then what?
It's almost personally the way I think about it, and not everyone would agree with this. But if I'm like that dude that's driving to church, knowing that like the average person in the church, you kind of get an idea, right? The median, you know, car that people drive is a Ford Explorer or something, right? And I go rolling into my Lambo every Sunday. I'm basically like, I know that I'm making people envious. Like, I mean, there's no doubt, right? And you can't pretend you're ignorant to that. Like, I just know it, right? At some point, it's just like, yeah, that's wrong. Like, you just shouldn't do that, right? I mean, and it's like, if I'm ever in a situation where, like, you know, I mean, if I'm like going to some place where I know that like there are people that maybe aren't as fortunate as me, or, you know, and I'm not saying that like I'm rich, I'm not, but you know, if there are definitely levels, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm trying to go to someone's house and I'm just like, I really try to like, we have like a car that I would consider like is in a different class than the other car. I would probably take the other car just so that I can like know that I'm not like trying, like I'm
But
not.
that is biblical. That's
Yeah.
1 Corinthians when he's talking about when I'm with the Jews, I live by the Jewish law. Or
Right.
also when like don't do anything that could make another person fall. Right? Like so like I have a relationship where I have a drink every now and then, whatever. And I know that if I'm I have a couple relationships that I know people are like recovering alcoholics. I will not drink in front of them.
That makes sense.
You know, so like
Yeah.
what you're saying is the same
Right.
breath, and I think that's dope. And I think
I'm bad at
that's
that. That's for sure.
I think that's
Well, not so much
yeah.
recovering, but there's like people that we knew that were like taking a break from alcohol for a whole year. I drank in front of them all the time.
well.
was just like-
I don't say that to like make you feel bad.
No, but I'm just saying like I did it to make them stronger in their conviction.
I know you're joking, but I'm not joking. I honestly, I think it's possible to go too far in a certain direction where, I mean, adversity, it's hormesis. It's the way like your muscles get stronger by going through adversity, by breaking them down and
Is
building
that
them back up.
hormesis?
They call it hormesis. Yeah.
You just gave me that word out of nowhere. I would not know what that means.
Yeah.
I would probably make up a horrible
David,
definition.
I only know because
to
of
that.
David Sinclair.
You literally threw out fag tag earlier.
That was okay. That
him
was
honest.
Not expect
Keep
that
him
one.
honest.
That was
That
a
one
nickname.
came out of left field.
That was like an insult / like thing that people call each
That
other.
no one else knew about,
Yeah, you can't say it now, obviously, but I'm
other
just
than
saying.
on the podcast. in front of
Other
all
than
of our-
on the
in front of
podcast.
all of our subscribers and viewers and listeners.
You dropped the hard F.
You do drop the hard F. I'll just say
And I
that.
said, you dropped the hard
No,
F.
you did.
oh, okay.
I can't even say it.
I see. You're not gonna say it?
I'm not going to say it.
Hey, it's just.
I'm gonna say
But I'm glad I know what it is now.
Kick him in his A.
Kick him in his head. I'm not mad you broke your elbow.
My fault, guys. This was a historical fact I was quoting. Okay, there are certain
Nothing wrong
places
with it.
I will not go.
Hey, I get it.
but I didn't feel like that.
Rogan got
Historical
busted for the
fact
same
is
thing.
maybe a stretch.
It was a fact of our. It was a
Of his
fact
history.
of my culture growing up.
Okay.
That was said.
Historical fact.
It's basically quoting a.
It's like Rogan saying the N word, you know?
It's not the same. Not the same. I did not do that.
I'm kidding.
What?
We will not do that on
this.
this podcast.
No, because he was doing the same thing. This was so long ago. We don't even need to get in this, but he was quoting something else and he just repeated
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I
but it
heard
wasn't
about
like he
that.
was saying.
And then like he has like 3-hour
Still
podcasts.
stupid of him.
I probably wouldn't do it.
Well, there's like 1,500, 2,000 podcasts now. He has like they're all like 2 to 3 hours, and over that time, I think he did it a bunch or something. Just because there's so much.
Somebody
and he brings
looped
it
them
up.
all together.
But that's
Yeah.
another big thing that like, and we can, maybe it's a sin, maybe it's not, but it's like, we have like just this human nature. Like when we're on camera, we know it's going to be on the internet. We're just like, oh, like careful. Don't say this, don't say that. Don't be the real you. Just like,
Well, I told my buddy,
because
I'm
where's
like,
the line between like,
Yeah.
is it not healthier to just live perfectly authentic and just be like, if this is how I talk, I'm going to talk this way.
yeah.
Or if I'm not, and it's okay if it's something that you maybe don't like and you're working on changing. I just think, I feel like I'm going through this phase where it's like radical honesty with myself and everyone. It's like, sometimes it's going to get me in trouble. I'm like, sure. But it's like, I think it's worth what's going to come out on the other end.
Yeah.
Sure.
I agree. No, that's great. So just to finish up this list, selfishness, again, not really talked about. Dishonoring parents, kind of talk about it in the context of kids, but like when we're adults, it's almost like you never talk about it. Gossip. I mean, gossip. It's so funny. We call it bad, right? It's like it is recognized as a bad sin, but at the same time, people are willing to recognize things as not gossip very easily.
Well, it's very common, which is sad.
It's like they excuse gossip but they make an excuse why they're doing it.
That's why I think it's one of the most destructive, because it's just so common that it's almost just human nature. Like I've for sure been guilty of this so many times. And it's just, I've only been around one environment, which was where I came from, where it was like they literally treated gossip the same way they treated like adultery, for real.
Wow.
Like, it's like if they heard people were talking about people, it's like pulling both in the office now. Who started this? You need to, like, first of all, you need to make it right. And then if this doesn't stop, you need to like find another place to
So
go.
here's the other thing too, is gossip, and I don't know the answer to this, that's why I'm asking you guys. Is gossip considered telling someone else's life details that are private, or which it is, that is. So does that, but when you just talk trash about someone to someone else, is that also gossip, or is that just like basically slander? You know what I mean?
I would say those are in the same category.
You think that's gossip? Like if I'm just telling you how someone like frustrates the shit out of me, like that, is that really gossip, or is that just me like expressing how I feel about someone?
I think the way I would see it, at least from a biblical perspective, is if you're saying something about someone that's not like just building them up or edifying. Like there's ways to for sure express concern about people if it's genuine. But I just think end of the day, it's like, I think it's like, would you say this to them if they were standing right here? And then
In the same
and
way.
if it's brutal, even if you would, you probably shouldn't. Like you should probably because I think if I'm going to really try to like, what does the Bible actually say? I would want to approach it in humility and just be like, I wouldn't want someone to just say that stuff about me behind my back.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of the golden rule thing. It's like, if I wouldn't want people
Oh, it
saying
is.
this
Yeah,
stuff,
no, you're
like
right.
saying this kind of stuff
You're
to
right,
other
it goes
people about
against
me.
that. So it's
I
for sure
probably
a sin.
shouldn't
It's for sure a
say
sin.
about
I was just
them.
classifying, like,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it
What I've
gossip or is it
taught about
defaming or?
gossip is like, if Justin were to gossip to me about, let's say, someone I haven't met or someone I don't know very well, let's say Christian. Justin were to gossip to me about Christian and I don't know him very well. Now all of a sudden I have this idea of who he is in my
Right.
head. And then I meet him and I'm already judging him based off something that may or may not be true.
True.
And then it's like, I already have this and I don't even give him a chance to.
Yeah.
And so that's
Well,
where it
that'd
can
because
kind of
cancel
lead
culture,
to-
that's-
But that's
we-
the thing.
we
I
have
think
so
I
much
feel
of that
like with
now.
gossip, in order to be considered gossip, there has to be a closed loop. It's like you have to kind of know or interact with
you have
that
to have
person.
a safe. Yeah.
Because like pastors will tell stories all the time from the stage about someone who had this stuff going on, but he keeps the person anonymous. That's not gossip.
Some boundaries, yeah.
Yeah. And you could even
Sure.
tell a person's name to somebody, but if literally it's someone that only you know and they live in California, it's not gossip either.
Sure.
It's just kind of like they're just telling you about a situation they're going with a person,
I think it's fair. It's at least I think for myself, if I'm real with myself, it's very easy to discern between like this is talking trash, this is just talking out of genuine concern for the person,
Yeah.
and then this is like
venting.
more so. Yeah. I feel like if you're really real with yourself,
Venting
you're
and
just
talking
like,
trash are very close together. There's a
Well,
fine line.
Well, and the thing with venting is
Yeah.
that
I should
you
repent,
really have to
probably.
like
Do
the
it
person,
safely.
yeah,
Sounds
with
fun,
the
though.
right person.
You have to vent.
Yeah. But it's so funny. But that the venting is such a catch-all. It's like, I just need to vent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
and
like,
then
well, yeah.
is this a safe place?
Is this a safe place? Are there any recording devices right
Yeah.
now?
Go ahead.
Well, maybe not. I don't know. I just think
Because it
if
echoes
we-
what Justin was saying about if there's something on my mind and heart, even if I'm not in the right place and I need to vent in order to get to the right place, I need to be able to have a relationship that I trust in order to, hey, this is on my, and then for them to hear it, justify how I'm feeling, and then correct if needed, all the things.
Go to a therapist.
well, and what
Yeah,
we
they
probably
do
don't,
straight up,
what we
yeah.
don't do good at either is like we feel bad. I think sometimes we feel bad, like with a lot of things. I think the first place you should take all of those frustrations is like if you believe in God to that like real relationship, and because ultimately, sometimes it just takes time. Like that's why they have all those sayings, it's just like don't make any decisions out of emotion, or like wait on it 48 hours to see how you feel about it. Just because like so many things will just happen in the moment and you're frustrated like in the moment about it, but then like 2 days later it's a complete like irrelevant, like you don't even care anymore. You're not even thinking about it. So it's like how many things, like I guess if it's gonna sit with you or stick with you for longer than like a week, probably just don't even vent about it. Just
Or if it causes bitterness, then that's something you should. And the thing about gossip is like, if Justin did something to me that really hurt me or got me angry or whatever, and I go into Gabby's office and I'm like, can you believe that Justin, that piece of crap is just, and then I just keep that between me and Gabby, then I'm just going to be resentful to Justin forever.
Bitterness.
So I think
It's on the list.
another avenue of gossip is like, you need to just go hash it out with that person.
yeah.
Go figure it out. Hey, dude, what you just said to me really upset me. Let's talk about it. Stuff like that. Because I think that it might be weird and not very normal culturally, but like that's
healthy.
where you put an end to it.
That's healthy.
Well,
for sure.
yeah, and it's just I avoid confrontation, and I try to diffuse a lot. Mm-hmm. So
So do I.
but a lot of it is like I get this attitude. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I get this attitude where it's like, is this a person that I'm really like looking to have a close relationship with? If it's not even worth me going there, because
Right.
I already have so much on my plate, like so many relationships that I have. It's like, if I desire a close relationship with this person, I'll make it a point to like try to make it right with them and whatever. And if it's not, I'm just like they're gonna remain at like acquaintance level,
Right.
because that's what builds relationship is the diversity, not diversity, adversity. Gosh, idiot.
We're here.
Gosh, idiot.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Hey, don't talk to my friend JJ that way.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Don't call my friend an idiot.
It's okay, man. What are you having?
Oh, come on, friends.
Don't kill my friends.
Don't come up here.
So going through this, yeah. So I would say, yeah, gossip, cursing. That's looked on like down on like a lot. It's very obvious.
That's one of the big no-nos
I
that
know.
we probably make a bigger deal out of. Well, I don't want
And
to say
like I said in another podcast, people curse under their breath at church all the time if they're around like the right people. And it's just like, it's just like,
well, even what's happening in your heart is
Sure.
no different than like that person's stupid. That person's an idiot.
yeah,
Like
We're all
it's no
screwed when it
different.
comes to that.
just like F this.
That's the whole Sermon on the Mount. It's the same as saying like F that person.
I know
It's weird.
how
You're doing the
like
same
a
thing.
lot of Christians will say F this and they like didn't say the word, so they feel like they're fine. It's
Like,
like,
screw that.
I feel like if you feel that way about that, you're still violating your conscience. It's like, if you feel like you need to hide it, I don't know.
Dude, one of the funniest things that ever, and I probably shouldn't even share the story, but I think it is funny.
You should.
Being at home, my dad was such a like, he was so like, I guess saintly is the only word I can think of. And he was like, I just never saw him mess up. And I know he wasn't perfect, but he did a real good job of like when he was around us, around people, like
Setting
he
an
was
example.
dialed in. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was setting a great example. But one time we were at my house, and I think someone left some shoes by the door, and like we had these really slick wooden floors back then, because it was like real wood still. And I just remember hearing, and he just dropped the word freaking, and I was just like, yo, that is without a doubt the worst word or thing my dad has ever said ever. And in some way I felt like closer to him. So I was like, he does get angry.
He's on my level.
I'll never forget it though, because he was like, who put these I don't know exactly what he said, but he was talking about some freaking shoes by the door, and I was just like,
That's hilarious. Bitterness.
Sorry, Dad, I
I think
love
I think we talk about bitterness. I'm just sorry. I'm just keep moving because
You're
we're
good.
going along. Bitterness is one of those things where we do mention it in sermons sometimes, but like I feel like it's never addressed on the daily. Same thing with hypocrisy. I feel like people talk about being hypocrites, but there's hypocrites all over church. And what's funny, not that that's not a natural human tendency. That's fine, but I think it gets into the point where it's like if you're going to call out other people's hypocrisy, like you can't be a big hypocrite. Like, but I feel like the biggest hypocrites are almost the ones that call other people out.
well, I mean,
Facts.
the problem is we are all hypocrites, because there's a gap between what we intend or who we intend to be and who we actually are. There's always going to be. And even like, who is Furtick?
That was fire.
Like Furtick was the one who was like talking about like, we just want to like get to the person that we want to be. But the problem is like, once we get to that person, then God is like, all right, level up again. Now we go to this level. So it's like, there's never not going to be a gap between like who we are and who we intend to be. So it's like, I think that the human journey should be like, and I think sometimes maybe that could be what's dangerous about religion is it's almost like, it's not a cop out, but it's like, okay, I got it figured out. Now I don't need to address it. I just have my faith, and I don't have to worry on like evolving as a spiritual being and actually like becoming sweeter, softer, kinder, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like-
gift, the art of humility. That is
Humility.
critical.
One, and even think about it this, it's like when you criticize someone for being hypocritical, it's just like, find like exactly humility and compassion and realize like, dude, like they want to be better. And like, that doesn't mean that if they continue to display like destructive behavior, or if they're actively like going against their self-interest, like you shouldn't like help or step in or something.
Right.
But it's like and maybe it's just because we all do it so often. Like it's so political too. It's like, how often do you see like this side calling the other side out for this? And then it's like, rewind 5 years, they literally did the same thing. And it's just like so much human nature that we just, I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's bananas.
Yeah. So some of these are very contextual to the time period, and because it's like these lists, it's hilarious because the Bible calls out some stuff as being a sin, and then, or, disobedient or whatever. And like, you look at it today, it's just like, that is not, this is man praying or prophesying with head covered.
I know exactly what it's talking about.
Well,
It needs the context.
right. But like, if you just looked at it as, and all the things the Bible tells you not to do, it's one of them.
Right.
And it's funny because there are some people like who are just like, tell you to take your hat off. If it's usually the old guys, they just like tell you to take your hat off.
Oh,
if you're
that's
praying.
interesting.
Yeah. I pray with my hat on all the time.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about that.
I mean, I'm on stage, like
It's like naturally thinking.
playing worship music,
Head cover.
playing worship music with my hat on. Like, I mean, a lot of us do. It's like
Prophesy on that there guitar.
not a thing. Yeah. So I think all in all, as we wrap this up, I'm glad we were able to kind of bring awareness to some of this, because really my whole thing with this was understanding that, not all sins are really the same. And it's funny because it's funny to see how the church views certain sins, but tend to overlook or don't call out enough of others.
I would
And-
like to say, sorry,
Yeah, no, that was really just my thought on it.
my last thought is, if you listen to this and you feel like, man, that's a whole lot of sin, it's because it is. And like, if you feel like, man, I don't stand a chance to do all this right, you're right, because none of us do. And so as much as the church and people screw this up and rank some higher than others, like, what's important is that you understand what God thinks about it all and what he did to conquer it all, right? So it's fun to joke about because when you
Right.
when you break it down, it's like, yeah, we're all screwed. And that first realization, I think, is when you could really start figuring out some really cool things. So
Yeah.
But I think
that's good. I
something-
like that.
This is the last thing I'll say. I think something that's very important to always keep in mind too is that there's a very big difference when approaching this topic. There's a big difference between conviction and shame. On the surface, they can often feel the same, and at times we can convince or confuse and convince ourselves that what's actually shame is like conviction, right? And it's like ultimately like if the feelings or the thoughts you're having about your actions or your thoughts make you want to run away and hide from God, like that's shame. That's the worst.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like doing some work where it's like, okay,
and that's not something God wants you to feel.
right. And I'm being made aware of these things, but the goal is always like to run to God. Like my biggest thing when I think about like ultimately when I have kids, it's like, and treating them and working through hard times, but it's like if they get in a pickle and it's bad, like are they gonna run to me? And like, am I gonna be the first phone call because it's the like dad I messed up phone call, or because I had the opposite experience. I had an amazing dad, but somewhere in the relationship, when I would be in trouble, my dad was the last place I was going. So I was like, I don't want him to know that I don't want him to know that I messed up.
Yeah.
So
Right.
just that subtle difference between like shame and conviction, where shame will just keep you in a prison and isolated, but it's meant to bring you
Conviction
into
brings you in.
closer into
That's
community.
good.
And I would say just message to the church. It's like, don't project your own convictions on other people. That's one thing.
Big time.
And then secondly, from my personal experience, it's like, if you're going to call out one of these things that you consider a bigger sin, like take a look at your own life, the plank in your own eye or whatever you want to call it, which is a Bible term that like some people probably won't know.
Good little
But
Christianese. Yeah.
feel Christianese.
Yeah.
But yeah, check your own heart first. But
Love that.
anyway, thanks for listening, y'all.
Long one today.
We'll see you.
You can always feel it. You're just like, wrap this shit up.